I am surrounded with 4 guests today who are instrumental in giving us dopamine hits. 2 out of the 4 guests are hardcore restaurators. The third one is a bar owner and also a restaurator. And the fourth guest is the CEO of a FEC. For the uninitiated, FEC stands for Family Entertainment Center. Without further ado, let us take a deep dive into the world of food, drinks, and gaming. We welcome Kedar Shetty, Mayur Shetty, Aditya Gupta, and Neeraj Raheja for a stimulating conversation on all things food, drinks, and gaming. Guys, before we get into this very interesting, tasty, and heady conversation, why don't we start by,
introduce yourselves.
Kedar Shetty.
Yeah, so my name is Kedar Shetty. I own restaurants called Blabber All Day, which is in Borivali and in Juhu. And now we are coming up in Thane. And also I own a restaurant called Balibu, which is in Goregaon. So my format is a very casual dining restaurants with all multi-cuisine food. You can avail everything you want with good cocktails, with good food and ambience. That's what we do. And we're doing this from last 10 years.
Right.
So, hi, I'm Mayur Shetty, and I'm an accidental restaurateur. I started with the bar, and I'm more into like a sports bar kind of a category. And yeah, then I also invest in restaurants. That's another thing. And yeah, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, hi, my name is Neeraj. I lead the business for Smash, which is currently under Fun Gateway Arena Private Limited. Smash has been a pioneer in the entire FEC gaming space. As of now, we run 17 centers, and there are 3 more centers that are coming up. One in Gurgaon, the other one in Patiala, and the third one in Mohali. I've been in this business for the last 6 months. Prior to this, for almost 2 decades, I've been a retailer, working with various retail companies like Trent, which have brands like Westside, Zudio, Zara to the accomplishment. And a large portion, the next portion, which is almost about 7 years, is where I spent with Raymond in establishing some of their retail presence.
Hi, I'm Aditya Gupta. I own some vegetarian restaurants in India. I have been in this business since the last 28 years. And we have brands like Quattro, Spice Club, Rolling Pin, Chingling, Samrat, Relish, 210, Status, and Spesso. These are all the brands which I run. I'm a partner at Samrat and Relish and Status. And we have been opening outlets all over India. We have also franchised the outlets, and we've opened in Frisco, Dubai. We are there in Calcutta. We are there in Chennai. We are there in Bangalore. These are
lovely. Excellent. So, guys, to begin with, the entire restaurant scene in Mumbai has exploded in the last 10 years. And every nook and corner has a restaurant, or there is a restaurant coming up. What do you think has changed in the last 10 years? And why is everyone interested in opening a new restaurant or, chipping in as an investor or in the capacity of an investor?
So my take is that there are 2 types of restaurateurs. Okay. One who, this is their core business. They want to do this only. Okay. And there's a restaurateur who wants to become a restaurateur, or an investor who wants to come as a glamour part. Because a restaurant is a very glamorous business. You know, it's kind of like your name is there and you feel like you're owning a restaurant or a lounge bar or a nightclub. You know, that kind of, that's what I feel. But a true restaurant can only get successful if somebody is there who's passionate about doing that place.
So it is a passion play.
100%. You cannot run a restaurant just by doing a business, you know, or just investing money as a glamorous part. Okay, you come, you chill, and you know, call your friends and say, okay, this is my restaurant. Not like that. But I feel the most important thing, ki restaurant is not an easy business. It's 24/7 by 365, right? So you need to be up on your toes every single day. So it's not an easy thing to do. But yeah, from outside, people feel, you know, it's a very glamorous thing to do, open a restaurant. You know, like people come and see, and you know, it's more like people knowing you in the market with their restaurants. You know, with the name of their restaurant. Okay, I own this restaurant, I own that restaurant. That's what I feel.
I agree.
As Kedar said, that people think that 20 रुपए का टमाटर आ रहा है, उसका ग्रेवी बन के they are selling for 500 rupees. But that cost involved from that 20 to 500 rupees is so high that at the end you're not left with much profit margin.
Right.
And yes, definitely people want to enter this business because they feel it's glamour, उनका नाम बन रहा है. And then there are these people who really like, we want to do this restaurant, we are passionate about it, and this is our core business.
Correct.
So there the cost and everything is very controlled. We have to control. Like there are people who are opening new restaurants. They pull staff from my place and double the salary, not realizing what is going to happen later on. So
there is a lot of poaching that goes in the restaurant industry also.
Lots.
And so Kedar, what you are saying is that it is everyone aspires to own a restaurant, and some people aspire to own a restaurant because they get attracted to the glamour and the glitz, you know, that a restaurant or a lounge bar, you know, provides. But there are nuances that one has to understand, and those nuances can only be understood by people who understand the finances of the business, you know, the money part of the business. Otherwise, you know, like Aditya said, that you can poach best of the people, but if your calculations are not right, and if you go haywire, you know, in doing the calculations, then you are headed for a disaster. Mayur, what is your take on what these guys said?
Oh, so I'll see, all of us made money doing this. That's why we're sitting here.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's not complain so much also. All right. So secondly, there's a 5% rule. Okay, in any business, only 5% make it. Maybe there will be like thousands of people doing Vastu, but you're in the top 5. That's why you're here and we are here sitting in front of you.
Right.
So that rule is blanket everywhere. The top 5% cricketers play for India. Or play for IPL. So you have to have that passion. Like, I'm not taking away anything what Kedar said, but वो अपने आप filter हो जाता है. You know, this journey will filter out who is not serious about it, and only the cream will rise to the top. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, so that is true for all the industries. Right? But ये restaurant एक ऐसा business है जो केदार ने बोला. So I have friends, you know, when we were in college, they would tell me कि यार मेरे को आगे जाके अपना एक restaurant खोलना है. You know, so जैसे there are some businesses like restaurants, hospitality, hotels, filmmaking. A lot of people get attracted to the glamour of filmmaking.
That's because, sir, entry barrier कुछ नहीं है ना, पैसा है, वही, that is the only entry barrier. If you have money, you just have to find people.
So what I feel, if it's not bad to invest in restaurant, it's really good. But you should find the right operator.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that is very important. Like if you find the right guy who is doing it properly, okay, you invest money on him. Okay, this guy is doing something right. You can check what he has done in the past. and then you invest money on them, it's fine. Everybody are doing that, and it's working also. It's working really good because people have money, they want to invest.
Right.
Now all these small coffee shops, they are getting $10 million investment. Why? That means the operator is doing something good. That's why they are getting $10 million investment, and their investment will rise in the coming years. That's why they have put money on that.
Right. So, Mayur, you said a very interesting thing, that it is the 5% in any business, who flourish, survive, sustain, and become extremely successful. But since today's podcast is on food, drinks, gaming, we'll, go to Neeraj for this. But what do you think is the secret sauce for any restaurant to survive? So, like, I'm from a common man's perspective, when I go to a restaurant, there are two things that I see. Okay. First is, of course, the food. And the second is the ambience. Today there is this whole thing about experiential dining, which was not there in India 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Today things have changed. The kind of exposure that today's generation has, okay, and also the Gen Z, that exposure is very different. उनकी sensibilities ही पूरी अलग है. तो आप लोगों को क्या लगता है कि ambience कितना मैटर करता है vis-a-vis the food and जिस हिसाब का खाना सर्व करते हैं, ओके, क्या वो मायने रखता है, मतलब टेस्ट मायने रखता है या ambience मायने रखता है?
So sir, simple, I'll tell you. I feel your ambience is part of your marketing this thing, because you can get the crowd in with a lovely ambience. But if the food and service is shit,
You won't be able to sustain.
You won't be able to sustain.
First 6 months, you will see the graph going up.
It's like a
and
beautiful
then-
car with no engine, right? So you can't just, you need that. आप showroom में देख लोगे सब कुछ, but once you get the car should run, and it should perform, and it should give you mileage.
Yeah.
So even if you get like a great sushi, all right, it's good, okay, but if it's $500-600, you'll be like, wow. But the same sushi, when it's $2,500, you'll be like, maybe it was okay. So the price also, sometimes tells you like, is it tasting that good? Like it makes you question it, right? So you have to find that balance. So ambience alone won't cut it. Service and food alone can cut it if there is zero ambience and the pricing is low.
Yeah.
All right, like there is like no ambience at all. But then you have to find a balance. It can't be irrational on any one side.
No, but the crowd is different for that. I mean, the catering to the crowd with zero ambience it's a very different old kind of setup that we are doing from last so many years. But the new age restaurants, they have to have ambience.
So, a very different take here, Kedar, Mayur, from an outsider in perspective, I'm not an expert in running restaurants, So from a purely from a consumer, if you look at the evolution that has happened, there was a point in time where अच्छा खाना खाना है तो बाहर जाकर खाते हैं, रेस्टोरेंट में जाकर खाते हैं. Now with the advent of social media and with the advent of your aggregators like Swiggy, Zomato, now what has happened is accessibility to good food has become table stakes. अच्छा खाना तो आप कहीं पे भी खा सकते हो. मैं घर पे बैठ के भी अच्छा खाना मंगा के खा सकता हूँ और मेरे पास बहुत चॉइस है. आई थिंक द प्रॉब्लम टुडे इज दैट कि क्या खाना है इज अ चॉइस, कि कहाँ खाना है इज अ चॉइस. एंड देयरफॉर what is becoming important is when people are now going out, they want certain kind of an experience, and you will lot of the times you'll hear people saying कि यार वो रेस्टोरेंट का वाइब बहुत अच्छा है, यार वहाँ पे वाइब है, यार वहाँ पे एक वाइब है, मजा आता है, कूल है, गोवा में जाते हो, अरे यार ये रेस्टोरेंट में जाते हो, उसकी वाइब बहुत सही है. Now I think what has happened is like what you guys are saying, food and service, depending on the value proposition that you're operating your businesses in, has become table stake. तो उडुपी में भी आपको there is a certain expectation of a service and a quality vis-a-vis the price that you're paying, and therefore there is a certain expectation of a quality and a...
No, that is 100% sure. Because if you're going to a place with an mind-blowing ambience, and even if you are, spending 1,000 rupees for a sushi, you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So that is okay.
वही कस्टमर है केदार जो like we were discussing some time back कि हम लोग how many times are we eating outside food, whether
Yeah,
at
yeah.
home or outside?
Yeah.
And the same customer, whether he's coming from say maybe a lower middle class or from an upper middle class or even the cream class, I think these people are consuming food from all of these channels. The top guy is also eating in Udupi. He's also ordering from Swiggy.
Yeah.
He's also probably going to one of the fine dine restaurants in therefore.
Yeah.
So I think जो fine dine का जो scene है ना, वहाँ पे I think experiences now started playing a very very big role. मुझे vibe मिलेगी तो मैं वहाँ जाके पैसे खर्चा करने के लिए ready.
Ready.
100%.
Yeah. So the conclusion is that one has to strike a balance between ambience and good food, right?
Absolutely.
And service.
And service. Service is also very
Absolutely.
important. The third ingredient of the secret sauce,
Yes, yes,
right?
Which
Which makes
many times feel ignored.
Which
But
makes a
these
restaurant
boys
successful.
really work hard.
I think
Men and
other
women both
other
actually.
thing that we are missing is consistency. You have to do that. You have to deliver that same food experience day in day out.
So consistency in terms of the taste of the
Yeah,
food.
yeah.
Everything, your ambience, your
Taste,
service, your
service.
food, everything, day in day out.
So the thing is that it's a continuous process.
Mhm.
You just cannot open a restaurant and just leave it. Okay, you are doing good and you leave it. I mean, it will do it on their own. It's a continuous process.
Right.
You have to maintain your place. You have to spend money to maintain your place. It
Right.
has to look spick and span every
Every
time
time.
when they come.
Correct.
Okay. In fact, the uniform of the waiters
Mhm.
that has to be, spick and span every time. You cannot have dirty clothes. Even if it is gone for 6 washes, we have to give them a new shirt. Otherwise, people will feel, okay, now this place has become run down, this place has become old. So we should not let them give that feeling, okay, now this place has become old.
Yeah. Yeah.
इसका time हो गया यार, अभी ये हो गया. That feeling should not. It should look fresh every time.
So right from your restaurant being spick and span, your the staff, the waiters and the managers and the GM and the entire hierarchy, they should also be immaculately dressed.
Yes.
Spotless clothes and uniforms. So that is also a part of this entire experiential dining that we are talking about.
Right.
So, one very important factor in the experiential dining space is menu engineering. And I've been reading about it and, how the menus are designed, structured. There is an anchoring bias, that goes into play when I am going through the menu or looking at the items vis-a-vis the price that is being charged. So Kedar, when you spoke about, this experiential restaurant, how do you design a menu? Do you have a special team who does it? And what goes into this whole science of menu engineering? क्योंकि आज से 10-12 साल पहले मुझे नहीं लगता ये कॉन्सेप्ट था कोई भी रेस्टोरेंट में मेन्यू इंजीनियरिंग का. Aditya,
No, menu
because
engineering was there from day one. It is, see, as per what
The
you
term
want
just
to
came.
serve, what you want to serve to
Fancier.
your customer in which way is very important and at what price. So,
okay.
so
But was
if
menu
my
given?
ambience is say a normal ambience and I might be serving the best sushi. Even if I serve it at 800 rupees, the guy will say, "Yaar, it's not that great. Itna maja nahi aaya." Though it might be the best. So that menu engineering needs to be done properly as per your ambience, as per everything, what you want to deliver on table to the guest and what your guest wants.
Okay.
That is important.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. At Quattro, we started in 2011 with the wood-fired pizza oven. That time we used to do thin crust. Now, in last 3 years, 4 years, things have changed and Napolitana has come where we are using imported flour at 180 rupees a kg, which we had never thought that we would do that.
Right.
So that is menu engineering, that you have to change with times what the customer wants. Customer palate keeps changing because he's also traveling.
Correct. He's evolving.
He's evolving.
Yeah.
So even at our Samrat restaurant, which is there since 72, menu has changed over the time. Taste has changed. Taste has evolved to the new generation, what they require. So that is very important. Menu engineering, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
So you have to keep doing it.
Right. Aditya, one very unique thing about all your restaurants is that you serve strictly vegetarian food.
Right.
So, please let us know, how are you able to sustain, the numbers in terms of the business that you do?
Right.
Because in a city like Mumbai, I
Right.
think majority of the people who go out to eat are non-vegetarians. So,
Yeah, but there is a good amount of clientele who are Gujarati, Jain, Marwadi, who prefer eating at a pure vegetarian restaurant.
mhm.
And there is a good clientele of vegetarian, I can say.
Mhm.
And we have been doing this since 72. All our restaurants are vegetarian. The first one we opened, Samrat, which my dad and his partners opened, was Thali
Mhm.
with Punjabi, which is vegetarian. Then we opened Status, again
Vegetarian, yeah.
Then we opened Relish, which was in 2001 we opened.
Mm.
At that time, there were hardly any restaurants, at least in South Bombay.
And I think Relish served what? Mexican, Italian?
but
it was a
Indianized,
multi-cuisine.
yeah, multi-cuisine.
Yeah.
And it's done wonders. Till today, we get good crowd. It's been now about more than 20
Sir, I
years.
feel vegetarian people are more than non-vegetarian.
Okay.
Like my take is that ki vegetarian people
Actually,
go out to eat, and they
I-
prefer going to a veg place, all veg place. Okay, and I think that is the catch. And you see all the Udupi hotels from 60 years they are doing the same business.
Yeah.
And after COVID,
Not
I
changed at
feel
all.
a lot of people have converted to vegetarian also. Huh?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
I forgot the Michelin star restaurant, which is in New York.
Yeah.
It turned
Pivoted
completely
Yeah.
plant-based.
Yeah.
So it's...
Not
I
even
think
veg,
because-
they went vegan.
They
Yeah,
went
they
vegan
went
because,
vegan, yeah.
veganism has caught up big
Yeah.
time in the West.
Mm.
Neeraj,
Sorry, Rasesh.
yeah.
So much so that, on the point that you guys are making, if you were to draw a corollary, Zomato has introduced
Yeah, vegetarian.
special riders only to deliver veg food.
Mm.
yeah.
They won't carry non-vegetarian food.
Yeah, that was a bit bizarre, but okay.
Yeah, it went all... Now they've changed the policy and they won't be wearing that green shirt and all that.
Yeah, I'm
thing.
saying forget the green, but I'm saying yes, there is a very, very
No,
big
it's a huge
captive
market.
There is a
Huge
growing
market,
demand.
yes.
Yeah, Neeraj, it makes a lot of sense. What you're saying does make a lot of sense. So, I wanted to ask you, your background is interesting because you've been a retailer.
Yeah.
And now what you do currently, as a CEO is even more interesting.
Yeah.
If you could explain what are family entertainment centers,
Sure. So I think it's a ever evolving space. Currently, if you look at it, the way what FEC means is a place where an entire family can actually come and have fun, which means that you will have a lot of activities or games
Mhm.
for the entire family to come and spend time. So, generally, if you look at it, the construct of an FEC, most FECs would have a hook. Probably an adult one would have bowling as a hook. A one that caters to maybe a younger generation could have a soft play or a trampoline kind of a hook.
Mhm.
So these are all related to where people and families can come and spend time. So it could mean bowling, it could mean soft play, it could mean trampoline parks, it could mean mystery rooms, it could mean the usual arcade games that we see, which are related to, say, maybe a basketball, somebody driving a bike, somebody riding a bike, somebody driving a car.
Like a simulator?
Simulated
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
So I think it started there, and now the space is ever evolving.
Mhm.
So initially, when you looked at it, people took probably a kind of a TG and tried to stay true to that. So for the sake of convenience, Smash took a stand that we will probably not serve younger kids. We would love to be with teens and adults, and that's how the positioning changed. Now, when you look at it recently in the market, I think people have understood that time is money, and there was a concept when we were young. We understood बोरियत क्या होती है, बोर होना क्या होता है. आज की जनरेशन बोर नहीं हो सकती. सो आज की जनरेशन बोर नहीं हो सकती, तो उनको टाइम स्पेंड करना है, और आपके पास आउटडोर एक्टिविटीज है नहीं. सो द ओनली प्लेस for people to venture out on the weekends or even during weekdays कि आप किसी mall चले जाओ, इसी mall में FEC में चले जाओ या straight किसी FEC में चले जाओ. So that's how this world is evolving. And now therefore people are changing gears to see that how FECs can become much, much larger. Therefore catering to everybody in the family. So right from a toddler to a kid, to a teen, to an adult, or even to their parents.
So a FEC is like a indoor amusement park,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So, there have been quite a few similar concepts in India which started and then it had to shut down. So, do you think that the economics, of your family entertainment center is a bit complicated and challenging?
I think like every business has its own challenges. I think FECs are also very challenging. Like I was discussing with you earlier, while there is no concept called inventory, in any other business, like मुझे kitchen supplies maintain करने हैं, here there is nothing called as inventory. So your initial capital outlay is far, far higher.
Right.
Which means typically it would probably take, say, maybe 3 to 4 times the investment that it would take for you to open maybe a restaurant or a retail store. So that's the kind of capital outlay that you need to open one FEC. Second point that happens is, I think everybody, like we were discussing in the beginning, that चकाचौंध से बहुत लोग impress हो जाते हैं कि यार ये तो बहुत सही है. And I think a lot of people thought कि इसमें है क्या, चाइना जाना है एजेंट के साथ, वहां पे गेम्स मिलती हैं, गेम सिलेक्ट करनी है, गेम लेके आनी है और यहाँ पे लोग आके कार्ड स्वाइप करेंगे और आपकी FEC चल जाएगा. But people don't realize that like in any other industry, I think the parameters of ambience, service, maintenance, how you are pricing your stuff, what is the mix of the games, all of those things matter. So today if you look at it, people who invest don't have the know-how of how to run that center, how to maintain those games. Sometimes these games break down. सॉफ्टवेयर करप्ट हो जाता है, हार्डवेयर कुछ टूट जाता है, बॉलिंग लेन्स लगाते हो, बॉलिंग लेन्स नीड रेगुलर मेंटेनेंस, स्पिन सेटर खराब हो गया, ऑयलिंग करनी है. सो these people are not readily available. These are scarce resources. So I think that is where people burn their hands when they get into something like we were talking in the morning कि invest कर दिया, but business चलाना नहीं आता है.
Correct.
So very immediate corollary, to that, interesting when you guys were speaking about it, this exactly happened in retail, say maybe about a decade back. So maybe a decade or 2 decades back, when suddenly the mall culture started springing up in our country. Everywhere it was about इन ऑर्बिट मॉल जाते हैं, फिनिक्स मॉल जाते हैं,
इन्फिनिटी जाते हैं,
इन्फिनिटी जाते हैं. अब क्या हुआ, किसी एक इन ऑर्बिट की सक्सेस देख के डेवलपर ने बोला कि मैं भी अपना एक मॉल बनाता हूँ. नाउ उसने what he thought is कि I am making a mall, but he doesn't want to run the mall. So what he did, he created a structure and sold off the units to investors.
मॉल ऐसे चलता ही नहीं है, बिल्कुल.
So whether it is F&B, whether it is gaming, or probably it is any other business, I think you need that special attention, that passion for it to succeed. Just by investing money or thinking, I think there are stock markets to do that. So I think if you really want to invest money in the business, I think the investors also need to be sure who are they joining hands with, and therefore whether that venture can actually be a success or not.
Yeah, but why FEC is more challenging is because of the huge real estate requirement, right? And to have a huge setup in a city like Mumbai, where the rentals have already gone through the roof, to sustain is a task.
Yes.
And like you said, everything has to be right, to sustain a proper FEC model. So when you set up a FEC center in a city like Mumbai, vis-a-vis, say, a tier 2 or a tier 3 city, do you think the ROI is different? And do you think that the break even can be, much faster?
Yes. So there are two very different perspectives to this, Rasesh, if you look at it. So while a city like Bombay, where real estate is at a premium and therefore the costs are higher, probably revenues will be far higher. So the interesting point here is that if an FEC has to be set up on a similar scale or a similar space in a Bombay or maybe in a tier 2 or a tier 3, the amount of capital outlay is going to be the same. So the point is, by paying the additional rental, are you going to get the additional revenue?
Okay.
Because your investment into the center is not changing.
The investment remains the same.
15,000 square feet in a Bombay to populate vis-a-vis a 15,000 square feet in maybe in a tier 2 or tier 3 to populate is actually going to take you the same amount of money. Interestingly, because places like Bombay and tier 1s are getting very expensive, therefore people are doing smaller centers. Maybe a Kamla is one extreme example which is huge. Otherwise, you will find Smash or many other competitions to be in that 15 to 20, 25,000 square feet range. Interestingly, what has come up, Rasesh, is that, बोरियत सब जगह है. बोरियत सब जगह है. And I believe in the tier 2 and the tier 3, the ability to spend money on these activities are far higher. The disposable income is far higher. And they have enough time. I think in places like Bombay and metros are, I think half, maybe 80% of our life is spent on
commuting. Yeah.
बाकी 20% में फिर आपको सब कुछ करना है. I think in smaller cities, आपके खर्चे कम हैं, आपकी disposable income ज़्यादा है. So interestingly, you will see that people are now coming up with new models where they're saying, I don't need the support of a mall to be successful. I am going to go out, lease a parcel of land, create a prefab structure and build out something which is as large as 50,000 square feet.
Okay.
Now this completely changes the game.
It changes the dynamics.
Yeah. Now you were talking about the TG of saying I'm going to be adult centric or teen centric. Now with a 50,000 square feet, you are for the entire family, and now you are playing true to the game, which is a family entertainment center.
It's a lovely insight.
So
super.
So with that 50,000 square feet parcel of land, what happens is land comes cheap. Your rental exposure is lower.
Correct.
Your capital outlay will be far higher. But therefore, the pressure on your break-even will drastically come down. So you will be able to probably sustain that model for far longer. Yes, you will have to invest a little more money in marketing. And rightfully so, because you have created something which is out of the world for a city in a tier 2 or a tier 3. For them, something as huge as 50,000 square feet offering everything under the sun for the family will change the game. And that is where F&B comes into the play. See, if somebody is coming to your center and wants to play bowling in half an hour and get away, he will not want to eat food. But if you are making that person spend time in your center, which is 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, he will definitely want to eat.
Yeah. So F&B also. So again, this is a very good insight. So FEC alone will not do well. They might do well, but if you have a proper F&B section, as a support.
Absolutely.
It completes the experience.
It completes the experience and it is like a value addition to the FEC.
Absolutely. So both models could work, Rasesh, depending where you are actually thinking of investing that money. Both models work. Like if I were to go to a mall where I'm present on a food court, and which also has specialty restaurants and dining, and because space is coming at a premium, you just might want to say that I don't want to do a full-blown kitchen. Like today, our center in Thane that we have, we are in Koram Mall on the food court level. What we do is we have done a small kiosk.
Okay.
So we don't do a full-service kitchen. We've done a kiosk which is just serving finger food. So when anybody comes to bowl, wants to eat some finger food and probably pizzas or a fries or a burger or a roll, that is available. And if there is a corporate who wants to have a party for about 50, 60, 70 people, we can easily outsource and then serve that party in the area. So there is a trade-off.
There's a trade-off.
There is a trade-off, and the trade-off has to be built very interestingly. See, because people will not come to your FEC to eat food.
Yeah.
Their primary hook is going to be,
But,
I want to play.
What I feel, there is, of course, there's a necessity of food in the
Absolutely.
center.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say, Kedar, here is your game mix has to be very, very amenable for a person to spend that much time in your center.
Yeah.
If your inventory in the center is
if
such
it-
कि वो आधे घंटे में ही भाग जाएगा,
then
तो फिर आपका food नहीं चलेगा.
Yeah.
If you make sure कि ये मेरे सेंटर में आके 2 घंटा स्पेंड करेगा, देन वो 2 घंटे में वो पानी भी पिएगा, बियर भी पिएगा, फ्रेंच फ्राइज भी ले लेगा, तंदूर से कुछ टिक्का भी खा लेगा,
Correct.
all that can happen. So it's very interesting that you have to build your mix around the where you want your
I
customer
have
to
a
be.
question for you. When does a FEC become a theme park? Because 50,000 square feet to the पहुंच गए आप. मतलब, isn't it like a proper like a
Yeah, but
like
it is
a
like-
Imagica?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is like an indoor amusement park.
Or Imagica is an FEC as well. Is an
No,
FEC
Imagica
as
is
well.
not an FEC. It's an amusement.
It's a theme park,
It's a
no?
theme park.
Theme park,
Absolute
right?
theme park.
So-
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think theme parks. See, 50,000. If you look at it, Mayur, again, what is happening is it's still very small when you compare it to an amusement park.
It's 10
Still very
times,
small.
I think. That will be like
Still
20
very small.
acres.
Still
Still
very
like
small.
1 acre.
And the way you intelligently design Mayur is that you try to give, say, maybe a fraction of the outdoor experiences that an amusement park offers into a 50,000 square feet. Now, because with the prefab, you have the luxury of height. You can, you could do things like, a rock climbing wall. You could do zip line. You could probably have a very nice open go-kart that is happening outside. So a fraction of some of those experiences can come here. But the thrill that you get in amusement park and the roller coasters and everything,
That's
possibly
not
very, very difficult to
50,000
replicate.
square feet. But anyway, my second question to you is like, but my primary, most people have a problem with FEC is that, you have to keep on recharging.
Yeah.
That's one of the major turn-offs. Indians don't like to recharge again and again. They get irritated. So why don't you all ever come up with a scheme like I take a 3,000 rupees pass and now everything is available to me like a theme park?
Yeah.
So would that increase your sale or would that hinder your sale? Like in
we
the
would
profitability.
we would in
general?
fact love to do that, and we've tried in a lot of cases. I think today a large part of people that come to our centers may only want to spend a particular time, or they have come with a particular budget in mind. So if I were to tell them, you probably give me 3,000 and spend a day in Smash, I think he'll probably prefer, like if I talk about Bombay, he'll probably prefer to go to a Imagica. So he wouldn't want to spend that 3,000 per person in a family center because वो एक budget लेके आ रहा है. Saturday है, Sunday है, मुझे बच्चों को बाहर लेके जाना है, मुझे अपना थोड़ा इनको खिलाना पिलाना है और काम खत्म करना है. That's where. So like we do a lot of things like we do Wow Wednesdays where we do say everything is at 50%. We also do from Monday to Thursday, we do student passes. So if a student comes and shows his ID, he pays something about, I think, $399 or $499, and there's a bouquet of activities that he can do. But I think that affordability, so we've seen that, to make them cross a particular threshold becomes very difficult because he's coming with that number in mind.
Correct.
Right.
So typically, why our concepts work, say maybe sometimes in the weekdays also, because you guys said Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, देखो आके तुम्हें पता चलेगा असली रेस्टोरेंट का बिजनेस कैसे होता है. So in our centers, what happens is, interestingly, a lot of teenagers, kids, college students come to Smash because they
Do
want to
you-
come, spend
Yeah.
some time in bowl.
Yeah. Do you also hold competitions? I
Yes.
think a lot of FECs outside India
Yes.
hold competitions.
So we do competitions, Rasesh. We hold bowling competitions which are at city levels. We also do at national levels. In fact, there was one that we concluded sometime in December and Jan. You'll be shocked to know, Rasesh, that the Indian professional bowling players come to my center in Delhi
Wow.
every Saturday, Sunday from 8 a.m. in the morning till 1 a.m. in the afternoon, till 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So the lanes are blocked for them. All they do is practice.
This is amazing.
Nice.
Lovely.
So,
Lovely.
you hit a very interesting point here, Rajesh, that, today what is happening when I talk about FECs and no matter how much I say about arcade or everything else, I think the primary hook today for FEC in India is bowling.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Bowling is the key. If you don't have bowling, everything else around it is not important. Bowling है क्या? उसके बारे में बात करो. Now, if I look at this opportunity as an outsider, it's been just 6 months into this business and I'm also learning. Bowling is a sport. Bowling is not a fun activity actually.
Correct.
Bowling is a sport.
Yeah.
And today, when I go to my centers and I just keep looking at my customers, I'll tell you 95% of the customers don't know how to bowl. They don't even know how to hold the ball.
Yeah.
So there have been incidents where people have hit the ball onto the TV screen. They've thrown the ball onto the third lane. Some people have skid on the lanes as well. So I'm saying.
Have they hit another customer?
Not yet. So interestingly, I think it's a unique opportunity for Smash and for any other FEC player,
Right.
to actually say that how will I own bowling in India and make this and propagate this as a full-time sport.
Full-time sport. Yeah.
That will expand the market.
Yeah.
That will expand. I was very, very happy last week when I was in Delhi. I saw a female player, professional bowling player for the first time.
So in India, a lot of people still treat bowling as a game and not as a sport.
It's an amazing insight. Yeah.
It is again an amazing insight. Yeah, absolutely. So, Kedar, what I would want to know from you is, and Mayur and Aditya, please free to butt in, has the QSR and cloud kitchen impacted the business of restaurants?
No,
Not
I don't
really.
think so.
Okay.
I mean, what I feel, anybody who wants to come out and have a good experience, they will go out. And post-COVID, they were sitting home for 2 years now. After COVID, that mentality has completely changed.
Sorry.
Nobody wants to sit at home. They just want to
yes,
go out.
everyone wants that experience. Even my other aggregator sale is much lower than what dine-in sale is.
ओ तो ये ऐसा नहीं हुआ जैसे कि OTT के आने के बाद people actually wait for the movie to be released on OTT और मल्टीप्लेक्स में नहीं जाते हैं, ऐसा ईटिंग स्पेस में ऐसा नहीं हुआ है.
मैं आपको बताता हूँ, मेरा इंसाइट देता हूँ.
Outside in perspective,
Plus.
Okay. मैं आपको बोलता हूँ, अगर आप 2 जन घर पे हो, हस्बैंड वाइफ, 2 बच्चे, नो मेड्स, मेड सुबह आके चली गई, रात को ये होस्टिंग 10 पीपल, यू हैव टू सर्व देम, पेट खाने में डालो, गरम करो, फिर रात को जब सब चले गए, आप पूरे थक गए हो, आपको सारे बर्तन धोने सोने से पहले, इसका कॉस्ट क्या है? इसका कॉस्ट बाहर जाने से कम है. Just go out, pay it and finish it off.
Right.
Because सुबह में हमें ऑफिस जाना है या अगले दिन और कुछ एक्टिविटी प्लान है, you can just carry on, right?
Yeah.
Going out has become a far more sensible option compared to, like, depending on your household structure. If you have less help around, going out makes more sense.
Okay.
If you have enough help around, ठीक है, host कीजिए.
But I personally feel, Mayur, that the way the online delivery platforms have changed the game. See, I think they have exploded the market by offering you with so much choice and convenience.
Correct.
कि कैसा है ना, आपके ज़बान पे खून लग गया है.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, you look at every
See,
household,
there
the
are
number of
two different things, what I feel, One is that you are alone and you want to have food now, you're calling for food.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Correct.
Now, alone, I will not go out and eat in the restaurant.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Now, we have a plan. Now, since a group of friends, now they meet once or twice in a week or thrice in a week, okay? Or they have multiple groups you are meeting in a week. So, you're going out.
Correct.
Okay, so that is a different thing of going out and delivery. Now, food delivery and delivery versus dining mein, what I feel ki I cannot compare in that a way because delivery ka purpose alag hai and dining ka purpose alag hai. People are going out for experience. Now, they are not having food at home for experience.
No, absolutely.
They are having because necessity कि अभी मुझे खाना मंगाना है, मुझे खाना चाहिए.
मैं किधर मेरा पॉइंट है कि उन्होंने इतना एक्सपोजर दे दिया है ना कि लोग अब बाहर का खाना, आई एम नॉट सेइंग डाइनिंग आउट और आउटिंग.
Oh yeah, you are saying outside food.
Outside food.
Yeah, that's right.
They have exploded that market.
Yeah.
So I would put it this way,
Yeah.
that on a weekend, if I want to go out with my friends and family and have this experience of, eating at a good place where the vibe is nice and happening, on a weekday, If I want to have outside food, then what Neeraj is saying makes a lot of sense. I will call for food. So this, the next logical question is, because, all three of you are restaurators. If you had to open a cloud kitchen or say a QSR, would you do it?
Cloud kitchen, it's good to hear. Maximum people don't make money. It's only the big brands which have made money. Because to reach out to your customer, the amount of marketing money which you have to spend, it's not justified.
What you save on the rent goes in the marketing.
It goes in the marketing, and the aggregators, the amount of money they take from you, you will not be able to survive unless and until you have deep pockets and you're just spending money, and you're burning
Yeah, but
money.
I don't mind a QSR model. If you do
Yeah,
if you
QSR
do
is-
a QSR rightly, so it is a very scalable model.
Yeah.
And as you know how the things are working out in FNB, like left, right, center investments are coming in. So a good QSR, it will work.
Yeah.
But you have to have something unique about your QSR. And it is a very scalable. Opening a restaurant, okay, it's not very easy. Like you having a restaurant and bar together. You cannot open 10 restaurants in a year. It's very difficult to find the right place, right location,
Impossible.
licenses, interior work, everything. But a QSR, you can open 20 in a year.
Yeah.
So the scalability is more, but you need to have the right product. What you're giving.
Absolutely.
Right. Right. So the soul of any restaurant, okay, is the food. And the food comes from the chef.
Right.
How difficult it is to retain the chef. And, he spoke about poaching, that poaching is so rampant. But so, because होता ये है कि अगर मैं एक एक्स रेस्टोरेंट में 10-12 साल से जा रहा हूँ,
Right.
ओके, तो मैं एम्बियंस की वजह से नहीं जा रहा हूँ. मैं जा रहा हूँ क्योंकि मुझे वहां का खाना बहुत पसंद है. The USP of that restaurant is food.
Yeah.
5-6-7 बार मैं एम्बियंस के लिए
And
गया.
the service.
And the service.
The staff knows you. You know, you have your guy, you have your table. All
Right.
these things add for someone to become a regular.
Yeah, but the taste of the food
Of course.
is the most important. तो आप लोगों का मैं पर्सपेक्टिव जानना चाहता हूँ. How do you retain the chef?
Okay, I think I'll let.
So what I feel, it is a very each to his own. How they work. Everybody has a different style of working. And there is no guarantee of retaining anybody in this world.
अगर आपने you have a good chef, like you started a new restaurant and it received super response, and then people went gaga over food and the cuisine that you are serving, और फिर 6-8 महीने के बाद God forbid वो शेफ छोड़ के चला गया केदार, then how do you get the same taste?
So if you have the recipes in place from day one, so what I do is get my recipes in place. I check those recipes. I ask someone else to make it. And if that is perfect, then anyone else replacing that chef, it doesn't matter.
So you always have a plan B ready.
You have to have.
Okay.
Otherwise,
So what happens? You have SOPs.
Okay.
Standard operating procedure of everything. So and it's not that the kitchen is run by only one person. It's a team. Right now they are doing it from last, supposing 1 year. They're doing the same thing again and again. So they also know what is happening inside.
So
as he said, there is a recipe which is already set. So they have to follow that.
Okay.
So the main chef actually is never cooking. He's more into getting things organized, getting admin work done, tasting everything that every guy has made it properly or no, and making sure the dish is coming out the way it should.
Right.
That is the whole process. So the main chef actually is doing more of admin work because there are too many people, too many sections in a kitchen to be coordinated to make sure that your food is coming out. Say in an Indian restaurant, your vegetable is coming out, tandoor se the roti should come out. ऐसा नहीं हो कि रोटी पहले आ गई because रोटी सबसे जल्दी ठंडी होती है. So that coordination is done by chef.
Yeah.
That is the whole thing.
So these are the nuances, that I spoke
He's the
about.
conductor of the orchestra.
Yeah, he's the conductor of the orchestra. Yeah. So Neeraj, we know that FECs are not theme parks.
Yeah.
But Neeraj, I want to understand from you that theme parks in India have typically not done well. And I understand that FECs are not theme parks.
Yeah.
But do you think it is a challenge to successfully run FECs all across the country? I understand that, like you spoke about Boreath,
Yeah.
and there is a shift in the spending pattern. 10 years ago, the way the Gen Z spent money and the way today they are spending money, there is a huge difference. You are also now, by launching Smash 2.0, you are attracting adults.
Yeah.
But there is an inherent challenge in the concept to make it commercially successful.
Yeah.
Would you agree that you need an investor or a corporate with deep pockets, to sustain this kind of a business?
Yes, I agree with you, Rasesh. I think this is a game that can only be played by people who have probably a very good side to long-term funding, number one. And number two, which is extremely important, is that scale is the name of the game. Today you may have regional players, say maybe creating one FEC in one city. The challenge is how far will you go to maintain that FEC, because that FEC after 2 years, 3 years will demand some kind of refurb, some kind of mixed change. When you have scale, what happens is you are probably able to shuffle and therefore infuse newness in your existing centers. And whatever you take out from your existing centers can go to some of the smaller centers, because some of those games or some of those experiences are completely new for that city, for that catchment, for that TG. So scale is the name of the game. Having said which, that scale comes at an exorbitant cost of investment.
Correct.
So yes, it is something that if anybody wants to venture into this business, I think having deep pockets or a very good line or very good side to long-term funding is very, very important.
Absolutely. So standalone FECs, when I say standalone, what I mean is where the investor or the company, which is starting the FEC, is not intending to scale up, then there are huge possibilities of that FEC, not being successful in the future.
Absolutely,
right?
Because for 2 or 3 things, I think one, the entry barrier, the biggest entry barrier in the FEC is the initial cost of investment. And second is how do you keep up with the pace that is happening in the market. So initially, if you look at the advent of FECs, it was all about arcade. So arcade में आज Fast and Furious 2 है, फिर 3 आया, फिर 4 आया, फिर X आया, फिर Y आया, फिर G आया. तो क्या हुआ, आपका ढांचा वही रहा, डब्बा वही रहा, अंदर का कंटेंट प्रीमियम होता चला गया. But now the world is moving far ahead. Now, if you see, it is no more arcade. It is all about virtual reality.
Correct.
It is all about the Oculuses that people are wearing. It is all about the content that is coming in the Oculuses. So all of these things, when you have to change, they come at a very, very considerable cost.
Correct.
And the lifespan of some of these experiences are short.
Right.
So constant investment and change will be very difficult for somebody who's doing just maybe 1 or 2 FECs.
Yeah, because people get bored very fast.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Lovely. So
it's
a lot
the
of
same
insights.
with the restaurant. Every 3 years, you need to refurbish, you need to change your upholstery, you need to do some changes because the customer is getting bored seeing the whole same old thing.
So these are the inherent challenges.
Yeah.
Right. So now this, brings me to the next logical question. So far, I think the conversation has been very interesting, and each one of you, have come up with very interesting insights. And it is going to be a great help to all the aspiring restaurators and investors. So this will be like a masterclass episode. Now, one last final question. What would you advise an upcoming, an aspiring restaurator or an investor or someone who's interested, in this business of food, hospitality, restaurating? Would you advise that he should go to a nice college, and take that that he should
education.
Formal education. Like there are people who go to Switzerland.
This is the same thing. Like,
But none of them are training you to run a restaurant.
You know, it's the
They're
same
training you
thing.
to work in a restaurant.
It's same
not
thing.
run
Like,
it.
if I have
Okay,
to open a
but-
factory, do I need to do an MBA?
No,
it's
but
the same
but,
question.
But the point is, does it come in handy if someone who's
See, what I feel, whatever knowledge you are getting, it's a plus. If you have a formal education, it's a plus. It's always a plus.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely.
But a restaurant, if any aspiring restaurateur wants to open a restaurant, so there are two things. If he's going to handle the business, if he's the one who's going to get deep into the business, then that business should be the main business, core business of his. Yeah, then only will be able to do it.
correct.
And second thing is, if an investor wants to invest, then I suggest he should find a right operator
Perfect.
so that his money is safe.
Absolutely.
I cannot say money is safe, but much better,
Yeah,
in better hands, rather than going to somebody who doesn't know about
No,
it.
absolutely.
Restaurant is not like running a factory कि मैंने पैसा लगा दिया अभी वो आदमी मशीन चलाएगा चलते रहेगा.
और प्रोडक्शन
They
आते रहेगा.
need time. You have to devote time.
Correct.
So
Correct.
when I recruit staff, I tell him when people enjoy, you have to work.
Right.
But when you enjoy, people are working.
Right.
Simple.
Very,
Ganpati
very well
hoi,
said.
ye hoi, everything you have to be there at the restaurant.
Right.
So you
Right.
can't leave it only.
Right.
It requires a lot of time. So as Kedar said that you have to be passionate and you have to devote time. Only then you should get into it.
I can
Otherwise,
give you-
partner with someone.
I can give you an investor perspective. Like, with whom should you invest? Right? ये question जो आता है. तो मैं normally क्या check करता हूँ कि भाई ये आदमी कितने साल से ये कर रहा है. क्या इसके रेस्टोरेंट 2-2 साल में बंद होते रहते हैं? क्या इसके पार्टनर्स हर बार बदलते रहते हैं? क्या इसके पार्टनर्स अभी जानी दुश्मन बन चुके हैं? ये बहुत कोर इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है. भले हम लोग हंस रहे हैं, बट ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. बिकॉज यूजुअली इन बिजनेस इफ यू पार्ट वेज, यू यूजुअली डोंट पार्ट वेज इन अ गुड वे.
Correct. Yeah, it is never amicable.
Yeah.
Or it is very rarely amicable.
I've had amicable splits,
So,
but we were like, I think I was lucky.
Yeah.
But in any which ways, this is very important, and that shows you that and of course, क्या आदमी अपने taxes time पे file करता है कि नहीं करता है.
Very
This is a very because I come, my mom's a chartered accountant, so because पहले ये tax, death and taxes, first chapter था मेरे life का. So these things tell you that he's an honest entrepreneur, and really wants to do good. And of course, you should gauge whether that product is your right mix or not. अभी कोई पैसा हर तरीके से लेडीज बार में भी पैसा है. ओके, तो अगर आपको वो करना है और आपको उस टाइप का पार्टनर चाहिए, उस टाइप का लाइफस्टाइल चाहिए, you're okay with all of those things, then that's for you. But you also need to understand what you're getting into that sector. So there are many sectors. All right, so pick your sector and pick your partner as per their track record in that particular sector. So that's what I would advise as an investor.
Brilliant.
No, great.
Neeraj, how about you?
So from an outside-in perspective, I think for somebody who's wanting to start or get into the restaurant business, and not as an investor, but wants to do that, I think, first of all, his aspiration will be a very important factor in deciding where he wants to go. It's like saying कि there are so many people जो शायद 1 या 2 रेस्टोरेंट खोल के बहुत खुश हैं. मुझे कुछ नहीं करना है और 2 रेस्टोरेंट मेरे चल रहे हैं, मेरा घर चल रहा है. I don't aspire to be bigger than this. Or you are wanting to say that no, I want to become a national brand, or I want to become a regional brand. Now that's a very different ball game, and therefore the way you will look at your venture, the way you will look at your business will be very, very different from just opening, say, maybe 1 or 2 restaurants and then operating them and taking your money every month home. That's very important. Second, for investors, I think invested is very, very important. From all of the other things that Mayur said, I think it is very important for you to understand आप किस पे पैसा लगा रहे हो. आप एक इंडिविजुअल पे पैसा लगा रहे हो या उसके ब्रांड पे पैसा लगा रहे हो. That becomes very, very important. So, if I had to choose that, if I had to put money on a new venture, probably a little less money on a new venture, vis-a-vis a little more additional money to be put on an established brand in the market, where probability of success is much higher. My obvious choice will be to do the other one.
See, what happens is,
Makes sense. Yes.
I'll just
So
give
it's
you an
very
example.
important.
Yeah.
An established brand which has been there since 10 years, his sale has now stabilized.
Hmm.
While as a new guy who comes in, his sale, you will say, oh wow, this restaurant is doing better than this.
Hmm.
But that sale is going to sustain at that level is not, you don't know.
Yeah.
So a guy who's established for so many years and his sale is stable, you know that boss, he is going to
Right.
do it.
Right.
Secondly, what people don't talk about is the number of restaurants which close in the city.
Yes.
It's very high to the compared to the number of restaurants which are opening, which no one realizes.
Absolutely. So the churning is very high, and the shelf life of a restaurant is also less. You know, if you compare it with a shop or a store.
Yeah.
So that goes to show that it is inherently a very challenging business.
Absolutely.
Because I think that restaurant and hospitality as a sector is a passion play.
Yes.
And this should be the conclusion. And this should be the crux, that if somebody is only looking at money making, then this is not the
place.
business. Like you said, then he should go to the stock market.
Absolutely.
Right? Here you require a different kind of vision, sensibility, passion. Only then you can survive this restaurant game.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, guys. It
Thank
was
you.
wonderful, lovely to have all four of you here. And I would look forward to have you again, where we will discuss, more nuanced aspects about hospitality. And there is something that Kedar, suggested. We will have a podcast on Goa. Hospitality in Goa, restaurants in Goa, cafes in Goa, because
and customers of Goa.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.